I want to say hello to all of you. Those of you who know me would know that I have, over time, I have really, as from very early on, around about the beginning of the 90s, I decided that my game is to build information, build education for maintainers. That was really what I did. At some stages I was with the University of Pretoria full-time. At other stages I was part-time with different universities. But the whole time, this whole process was this company which was called MTech, and now later on AMTech, was running, and we created the Terratechnica Maintenance College, which is now the Terratechnica Asset Management College, whose job it is to provide training to maintenance professionals. And one of the things that I always wanted to do, and which was a little bit difficult, was to assist asset managers, and I'm now talking about asset managers of all levels, to really come to grips with how can they make their organizations more efficient. How can they build their organizations to top organizations? And the way in which we wanted to do it, or in which we tried to do it, is to consult. So we consulted and we helped quite a number of organizations in that field. I'm busy writing a business book to assist asset managers to build their organizations to success. This is where it has now culminated after a long time. The preliminary title of the book is The Exceptional Asset Manager. And the subtitle is The 7 Skills to Master the Business of Physical Asset Management and Shine in Your Career. But that's preliminary, it's not final. I previously assisted a number of businesses in developing their AMS businesses to success. If I say I mean our organization. But I was at the head of it, so I say I. In this process, I learned a few valuable things. I based my paper at the SAAMA conference in 2019 on one of these successes. So there was a paper that was received very well on one of these successes. First, just a disclaimer. I had to do serious cuts in my presentation to conform to the 20 minutes time limit. That thing is running and it is jumping. Just know that there are much more to be said on the topic, and I'm available should you talk about more angles. There are a number of things that drives asset management success. And for this, what I'm busy doing, and you see there the 7 assets of physical asset management, but we are really talking of 10 things. The model itself is 7, but we're talking of 10 things to be accurate. Now, the first thing is these 7 that can be called facilitators. We call them assets. Some of these assets are physical things, some are system things, and some are people things. So they're not the same. They're not as if they're physical assets only. When I wrote my first textbook in the field, simply called Maintenance, in 1997, some of you might have seen it, might have worked out of it. I had to start by looking at what are the contributing factors to maintenance success. I mean, when you start writing a book, what do you put in that book? The first question was, what why is maintenance important? How should I convince my readers? Because at that stage in time, maintenance was a little bit of a swear word. I mean, it was a greasy, messy business. So it's not asset management like we know it today. I then listed these 7 contributing factors to maintenance success. And that's the 7 assets. These are what I now call the 7 assets of asset management. So let me introduce myself to you. Your question in your mind might be, what the heck is this guy about? Why can he talk to me? Why can he tell me the things that he's telling me? How should I know that he's serious? How should I listen to him? So what I'm going to do now is not to blow myself up, it's just to tell you who I am. My name is Jasper Coetzee. I'm the founder of Amtech and the principal of the Terratechnica Asset Management College. We develop physical asset management leaders and do training in asset management and maintenance principles for people in industry. I have a PhD in industrial engineering, focusing on reliability-centered maintenance. And I'm a fellow of the International Society of Engineering Asset Management. That's me. So maybe you think that you can listen to me. So the question is, will these 7 assets on their own cut it? Will they do the job? And the answer is no, you can have them at their best level, and if you do not have life in the organization, they will just be exhibition objects. But also, if you have life in the business, and these 7 assets are not properly developed, you will likewise not have success. So you need the 7 assets plus life-giving processes to effectuate them. So in order to fulfill this function, that's a little bit of a redundant slide now, the asset management function needs to be excellent in 7 main areas, which we call the 7 assets of the function. These 7 things are in place. If these 7 things are in place, the function can perform well. But there's the model. There's the model, there's the 7 assets. We will work through them. You see they numbered from 01 to 07. And you also see that the 7 assets are represented by the acronym DEVELOP. That's in the top there, DEVELOP. So each of them starts, the first one starts with D, the second one with E, and so forth. And shown in the circular diagram, which shows that the equipment of the organization is served by these 7 aspects. So let's look at them one by one. First, the development of asset management skills. That is the asset that you're talking about there. Meeting the educational requirements for a position does not say that you can do the work. It only provides the basic foundation to be able to do the work at all. Now, I'm jumping over a lot of stuff, so that's why I'm saying I have a lot more to contribute if you really want to. This involves the following developmental aspects. Firstly, the technical work that the person has to do, or supervise, or manage. Secondly, the specific work of the maintenance position, or the asset management position. Just remember, when I talk about maintenance, I mean asset management and vice versa. For instance, maintenance planning. Thirdly, general maintenance or asset management principles. And fourthly, the techniques that we use in the field. So all of that falls under that. And then there's some general things also, like, for instance, leadership, general management principles and techniques, personnel management, communication, critical thinking skills, lots of things, which I'm not going to read all of them. The second asset is named equipping the business. Now, We know that in an asset management business that you need a lot of equipment to be able to do your job. And that's what we're talking about there. Now, I've just listed some things here like cleaning equipment, general instrumentation, general engineering machines that you need, like for instance presses and so on, specialized tooling, and lots of others. There are a lot of stuff that you need to be able to do the job properly. The third asset, visibility and plannedness. I must just confess that in order to force what I did into the acronym develop, I had to make some difficult name changes. The original name was CMMS. It's just CMMS. Well, it's all the systems around the CMMS. So that is what we're talking of. And as all of us know, you can have a CMMS and nothing really works. That's not to say that you must just have a CMMS. It must be a CMMS and systems in place that works. The fourth one is engineered logistics. There's a statement on that slide now that says each minute lost is forever gone. That statement uses an analogy from Formula One racing. What does it say? It says that the racing organization actions need to be faultless. First of all, the facilities needed to support the driver must be ready. Further to this, the crew should be fast and efficient and effective. Otherwise, the chances of success are poor. You know that it's like a machine. A lot of the outcome of a race depends on exactly that team has been trained, and they train them over many weeks. Some guys are trained for months before they are allowed to participate in that action. Now, industrial maintenance needs to be well organized in a likewise fashion. We underdo it completely. The thing is, nothing must be left to chance if you really want to be a winner. The flow of people, because there's a lot of things involved, the flow of people, flow of work, flow of information, all of that must be based on careful thought. This should further precision task performance and short turnaround times. All of that is necessary. There are two things that need to be in place, or life cycle management. That one is life cycle management. There are two things that need to be in place for proper life cycle management of equipment. Firstly, a scientifically designed maintenance plan. The maintenance of the equipment must be based on the best information regarding the equipment and its failures. The second component then concerns life cycle cost modeling. The information regarding the operational cost and failure history need to be combined for a few reasons. The one is to optimize the life cycle cost of the equipment, but also to take decisions regarding the replacement of components, the stocking of parts, the replacement of the equipment when it gets necessary, and so forth. Asset management and maintenance needs to be systemized on two levels, namely, firstly, the strategic level, and secondly, the tactical level. The strategic level concerns things such as that the organization needs to, what the organization needs to for success, how it will go about in achieving those successes. It can also be thought of as the broad approach taken to put into place all the needed processes to ensure success. And such processes span both the strategic and the tactical realms. The second, or the tactical level, concerns the actual operations that are required for successful performance of the required maintenance actions, and they include the planning, the execution, the supervision over the tasks, etc., etc. The seventh and last asset is proficiency of personnel. The business needs to achieve a deep level of maintenance expertise. That is at all levels of maintenance operations and management. There are many functions involved in the maintenance business, each needing certain education and training requirements. There is, for instance, a need for maintenance engineers, typically with an academic education. And then there is a requirement for artisans and technicians that has undergone apprenticeship that is suitable. Other people need a diploma of some sort. Still others need to have completed secondary school and so on and so on. So of course not a complete listing. Further to this, it's not only academic training that is needed. Practical experience and training plays a huge role. Much of the technical expertise needed in the maintenance organization is developed during the execution of the maintenance tasks themselves. And then, of course, you can also attend technical training at suppliers, and you can hold internal workshops and so on. All this is to achieve the needed deep level of expertise. The purpose of all this is to achieve a deep level of knowledge and know-how regarding the maintenance of equipment and systems maintained by the business. The total knowledge in the business regarding the systems being maintained must augment each other, such that it forms one body of knowledge. For example, artisans and technicians need to have know-how and skills to exactly how to do the work, direct work on the machines which they are responsible for. The supervisors overseeing them, again, needs to be so accomplished in the maintenance and care of the equipment under their care that they can assist the artisans and technicians when they are at a loss about how to handle certain problem situations. And then engineers need to have a wide insight regarding the interrelationships between the various systems employed by the business. So what about all of this? What about all of this? Can an asset management or a maintenance leader simply apply themselves to these 7 areas, get the money for improving them, and then the problem is solved? I think all of you would agree with me, no, it is not possible. I mean, you put these things in place, but they are still impotent. They're impotent, they're there. They can do the job, everything. The thing is to organize the things such that everything works, you know. We listened to the man in Australia, I can't remember his name now. We listened to him, and you can sense that everything there works. It works. We need to get it working. But that does not say that it will produce the beans. There's more to it. Will the business perform a lot better by just doing this? Unfortunately, it's not as simple as this. Although these 7 assets are critical to success, the total action must be bound together. And the main binding force is the organizational culture of the asset management or the maintenance function. That's the main thing. That's the thing that brings the things together, that people run in the same direction. The culture is an essential part of success in any business. It is the will of the people to succeed that brings the favorable outcome, and so it's in the maintenance world. You know, in the early 2000s, we started saying, I'm now talking Amtech, when we had conferences and things, we started saying that asset management or maintenance was always technology-driven in the old days. I'm talking 50s, 60s, thereabouts. Then it became system-driven, then or technique-driven first. All the various techniques that was developed, like condition monitoring and so on, and then systems-driven. And we made the point that the thing is, it is people-driven. It's a people-centered business. It's a people-centered business, but I don't think that is a lot of, I mean, all businesses should be people-centered. If you do not center them around people, you don't get the results. It's not that the 7 assets are not important. They are very important. But even to develop them to a winning level needs the commitment, the drive, and the enthusiasm of the business's people. In the end, that is the formula for success. So in this figure, we then show how important culture is to achieve success. Culture, okay, in that case, we just said, well, a winning culture, I missed that slide. Winning culture is added to the 7 assets, but then we put the culture right in the middle of that diagram. That makes sense. Whereas the 7 assets operates, if you think about the basic diagram, you have the equipment in the middle. 7 assets operates inwards on the equipment of the organization. The culture now is the central force that drives the organizational outcomes, including building up the 7 assets. So how do you bring this about? This is the $1 million question. That's the one that that I battled with over many years. I mean, you go to an organization, I know my time is up, but I'm not stopping. I'm very near to finish. The thing is, you go to an organization and you convince them to do consulting for them and you help them, whatever. The thing is, what you leave there after you go is you leave yourself there. You leave what you've created there. Not that they have necessarily, you try your best to get them to buy in, but they've not completely bought in. So it must be an internal thing. It must come from the internal, from them themselves. So the next slide then says, there are a few critical components that need to be addressed, and I'm going to make fast. The knowledge and skills that the 7 Assets program gives itself, and then a phased approach. You see, we talk of a phased approach there. One cannot achieve all of this in one swell swoop. You must take it over time. Second, an integrated approach. There are a great number of quantities and qualities that needs to be addressed in the business, in the process. This cannot be done too fast. It needs to accommodate the pace of change that the workforce will allow. Workforces, unfortunately, they're the bosses. You can think you're the bosses, but they're the bosses in the end. You must do it in the right way. Also, the main components addressed in the program, apart from the 7 assets themselves, are as follows. We list 4 of them. Regular instances of measurement of the progress made, that's like audits and SWOT analyses and things like that to measure. Second, where the accent of the technical focus of the maintenance of the business is placed. Grow from basic care to condition-based maintenance to proactive maintenance. In other words, a slow progress, that is now technical focus. Third, the accent of the management of the maintenance of the business. Grow from managing single important failures. In other words, you focus on the things that happen now and solve them. And from there to managing by the business plan, to managing strategically, focusing on excellence. And fourth, build the culture from where it was, the position where it was, to a team culture, to a culture where teams are aligned from top to bottom. In other words, where the big bosses and the lower guys work together as a team. And that I call a winning culture. What you get eventually, you get a winning culture. So if someone wants to get more information, they can visit our website at the web address shown. Thank you so much. Shall I also say any questions?
We currently don't have any questions from the virtual audience. We've got one. We've got 2. Any from this side? No, let's take the 2.
Good afternoon, Prof. So I'm doing one of your courses at UP, and I've been a reliability engineer for a long time. So I realized in your course there's a lot of statistics. I was shocked. Like, I've been doing reliability for such a long time, but I didn't realize the amount of stats that is involved. I know, yes, you have to do data analytics in terms of assessing your failure history. So I just wanted to know, in terms of return on investment, is it really worth it to go to that level of detail, like in terms of your statistical analysis of your failure data?
Okay, that's an interesting question. And it's one that's asked often, because it's so difficult to get failure information together. It's not that difficult. The problem is that people just don't want to do it. They just don't want to do it, especially artisans. They don't like administration. That's why they became an artisan. They don't want to write, but nowadays you give them handheld devices and they can just punch the figures in or whatever. It is a problem. It is a problem. The thing is again, the more you get it right, the better you become. And the more benefit you're going to get from your assets, and the more the company will make. That's how simple it is. So one must just apply yourself. I understand. There are some things that you can do. Remember also, I teach people to focus on the most critical areas only. You know, when you, for instance, do RCM, you don't do RCM on your whole plant or on your whole machine or whatever. You have techniques to find out which are the most critical areas, and you only do it for those, because then you can do it properly for those small little pockets. And then you know, when you've done that, if you've done that exercise and you know which are the most important, then you just get your people to collect information for those small little pockets. And then you can do a lot of analysis. If you don't do analysis, you are guesstimating, and sometimes that's worse than nothing. Okay? Are you okay? But I must say that my whole thing here with the 7 assets was not on that, although one of the assets is related to that, that's life cycle management. Yeah.
Hello, are you well?
No, I'm fine, and you?
I'm still well.
Just the problem of getting here in the morning. So,
that's why it's
I'm living there in Vanderbilt Park. I mean, there, when you have a traffic jam, you won't believe it. 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's why it's an honor to meet you in person. I just have a question for you. I saw all those 7 assets, physical asset management, and I'm impressed. So, as somebody who's aspiring more on getting a PhD in maintenance and reliability, I was very, very, very happy to see that model. That's my compliment. But my question is, it was more on the 5th portion. I've been having hiccups. Maybe you can help me on this one. My question is, how does...
Okay, I'm sorry.
My question is, how does one approach the modeling of a life cycle cost of an equipment that does not have historical data? Because I've been battling with that problem for quite some time.
I'm going to give you a commercial answer.
All right.
You attend our life cycle course at Technica Asset Management College.
All right.
It's a week-long course. It's excellent, and it teaches you exactly where you should go.
What is directly that cost? Is it life cycle cost?
What is the name exactly? Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Doc.
There you go.
The online audience, it's from Giovanni Kluter. How did you manage to go from an artisan to a PhD? And any advice on us becoming, because of opportunities are limited these days?
I did not say that I was an artisan. I just did not say it. But I suppose he knows it. Yeah, well, it's a long story. It's a very long story. And the story begins like this. I was in matric. I did not know where to go. My father and mother sort of guided me. They knew that I'm very happy with technical things and so on. So they said, well, we think that you must become an engineer. And I then decided, okay, and I applied at the University of Pretoria, and I got I got in. And but when I got there, and my father was very strict on me. He really kept the reins very tight. So when I got to university, all of a sudden I had a lot of freedom, so I plucked. I did not make my first year. I got 2 subjects out of the 6 those years. And then my father said to me, well, if you don't want to do that, he talked to some of his colleagues, and his colleagues said, well, the thing to do is you go to ISCOR, there in Pretoria, and you go and do an apprenticeship. And that's how it became. So I did that, but when I was an apprentice, I started realizing what I missed. And I also had the head of training and development in ISCOR those days, was a very solid man, and he got me into his office and he said, you have the ability to do this, and I want this from you. I want no stories. So I did it. And that's how it happened, slowly but surely. And I did not want to have a PhD eventually, but then when I got to the University of Pretoria in the 90s, they said to me, you're underqualified, and you must make sure that you get qualified. And that's the story. It's a slow process. So I got originally the B degree, and then I understood that I did not understand things about failure and so on, and even management. So what I did is I first enrolled, after that I enrolled for a BCom degree, because at that stage I did not want to go for an MBA because that's at a higher level. So I wanted to have the tools. So I did a BCom degree, and then after that, when I got, then I started realizing I know nothing about failure. So I did an honors degree in industrial engineering, which had all of the reliability stuff and all that in it. And I did that, and then I stopped. And then I got to Turkish, and they said to me, you are underqualified. So I've had to do a master's degree in industrial engineering, and then eventually a PhD in industrial engineering. And I'm very happy about that. It was good. It was really good. It taught me a lot of stuff, a lot of things. And I like to teach other people that stuff. And other stuff. Thank you.